Welcome back, everybody, to me being a day late and excusing my inactivity and stuff. It's time to do the weekly navel-gazing and, do the thing that we always do. So, let's get this started with, shall we? Cheers. Alright, as always, this is me talking about what I've done last week and what I plan to do this week. And then see where all of this is connecting. And, it's going to be a short one, I guess. At least the doing stuff will be short. And then we'll talk about the more, future and stuff like that. So, what did I read last week? I finished reading Lord Foul's Bane by Stephen R. Donaldson. And I do have a lot to say and think about it. And I may have to read book 2, The Ill-Earth Stone? No, Ill-Earth War. About the Ill-Earth Stone, and I have to maybe look at that one before I can actually formulate my thoughts on Lord Foul's Bane. But yeah, there will be talking about these books. They did work for me this time around, is what I'm trying to say. It was not as 20 years ago when I just didn't get it. I still have things I disagree with, of course, and we'll talk about those as well. But I think it does a lot of interesting things, and reading it certainly, was interesting. And then I did reread Jingo by Sir Terry Pratchett, because, Discworld. However, the rest of the week I didn't read anything because I was at a festival. We're going to talk about that in a second. And, those are not reading times for me. There were also very few videos last week. In fact, there was only one, and that wasn't even the one that I planned to make. And that was me just talking about that story with the bird. And yeah, the fact that my room is still not smelling of decomposing bird gives me hope that, it is actually gone. Hooray for me, I think. And I'm just honestly, I'm just really happy that the bird didn't die and just actually got out. I hope it, I wish it well, certainly. Anyway, so that was the one that I actually managed to finish. I don't know, apart from that, yes, I did start recording a video. I actually recorded it twice, but I'm still not happy with the result, so I don't know, I'll probably return to it because there's something that we'll need to talk about in a bit later. And I did record parts 2 and 3 of my ongoing longer video on BookTube stuff. But there's still parts 4 and 5 to record it, and then to actually edit the whole thing together. So I did do stuff, it just didn't come out yet. And we will see if I can actually manage to do one more video this week. So here's the point. I'm going to go back to Wacken Open Air tomorrow morning, early on, and that will seriously impact my reading and recording, of course. But I have started a new book, and that's a reread because I want to talk about something, or more than one thing about this book. I did start a reread of Rejoice by Stephen Erickson. And I want to talk about several aspects with this book, and we will see where all of this is going. Maybe I'll actually manage to do one of those videos today. Either that one, or I'll actually manage to do the other one, a re-recording of the other one that I'm sort of happy with. That's sort of the idea for me now, and then I'll record, publish it tomorrow or whenever. So yeah, I'll be rereading Rejoice by Stephen Erickson, a quick reread. It's not that long of a book, so I'm fine with that. And then I'll probably return to the Ill-Earth War, or I'll return and start my reread of the first one. What's the first one? Assassin's Apprentice, the first one of the Farseer trilogy. I read that 15 years ago, roughly 15 years ago. So I'm looking forward to doing that. It's a buddy read with a friend, and there may or may not be content coming out on that. We will find out, but they have their book, and I have my audiobook, and I'll be starting that whenever I'm done with Rejoice. Other reading plans, I don't know. if I feel extremely ambitious, I'll go and read The Secret History by Donna Tartt as a preparation for reading Babel by R.F. Kuang. But that's like 2 weeks in advance, and I don't even know what I'll be doing next week, so who am I to plan ahead? But that's sort of my reading. Rejoice, probably continuous Terry Pratchetting in the background, because I always do that, and with our ongoing Black Company reread or read-along thing, I will return and do another reading of Shadow Games, which is book 1 of the Books of the South. So if you want to join us on that, discussions have started on the Discord. We're talking about that, and we'll go, have a bit of like an actual, Zoom call kind of thing later in the month. But, it's a short book, and if you want to join, you're more than welcome. So, lots of reading in the more distant future, and as I said, videos, not so much, because, I don't have that much time today. I'll probably record one video and let it render overnight so I can upload it before I leave for the festival tomorrow. I do have a lot of ideas for videos, though, and they have, as so often, kind of baffled me, because I'm not good with planning stuff. And we'll talk about that in a bit. And also the festival. So yeah, I'll be going to Wacken Open Air, which is pretty huge. And should you be in Wacken and want to meet up for a beer, let me know. And we can probably work something out. It's a huge place. It's like almost 100,000 people showing up. So chances of someone actually being there are not as slim as usual when I go to, I don't know, small festivals like 200 people showing up. So there's that. What else? The festival and content and stuff, right? So obviously you know that heavy metal is a big part of my life, like very big in a lot of ways, and I'm like always thinking about like how I should, or if I should include that in like do more of that on the channel here. And then I'm always wondering, what should I do? Because I don't feel like me doing like music reviews is something that y'all want from me, and I don't know, I was wondering what to do there. I was like, yeah, I'm going to a festival, and going to festivals is a huge part of my existence. But how do I make a video out of that? Yeah, possibly a vlog, but I'm not good with like doing that kind of video stuff. And I don't know. Let me know what you think. If you have like ideas or stuff you really want me to do with like the metal side of things on this channel, then just like, I don't know, make a comment and I'll like think about it. Maybe you have ideas that I just don't see, because I'm limited in my thoughts as well as in my vision in more than one way. On the other side, of course, is the videos that I'm thinking about. So here's the thing. I tend to think in a very connected way, which doesn't always help. And I'm like, all right, I need to talk about this one thing, and I need to talk about this one thing, but they're sort of connected. So which one am I going to pick first? Are we first going to talk about like the romantics in the 19th century and how they reinvented medieval and Old Norse culture as a construct they used for their political aims? Or are we going to talk about how that influences fantasy today? Because I feel more about talking about that, the way it influences fantasy today, but then can I rely on people knowing that stuff? And I'm like, should I do it the other way around? Also, I have this idea of like how postmodernism and traditional fantasy writing of the more Sandersonian way of writing stories are kind of in conflict and have, there's issues there that I look at. And one of those issues then once again ties back to how those very specific tropes and themes and elements from that 19th century romanticism are perpetuated and transported in contemporary fantasy and so forth. And then I'm like, my brain's exploding. I'm like, it all is connected. I have no idea how to do this. And then, so yeah. I feel like, technically I could probably just like do small videos, upload them, and then put them into like a timeline into like a playlist where I think they belong and, go along in a more logical sense. Because as we have established before, right, it's like when I make videos, I have to go with the impulse right now. And that would be talking about, I don't know, the connections of fascism and fantasy, sort of. And then I can still go back and talk about 19th century romanticism or whatever. And you see my problem there? It's complicated. Is what I'm trying to say. And I do actually want to go and talk about concrete individual specific books again at some point. But yeah, I don't feel ready to tackle Thomas Covenant yet because I feel I'm lacking context. And I didn't start out doing like a read along kind of thing like I did with Wheel of Time or the Malazan stuff last year. So now it's too late for that. And I'm like, will I do that with like Guy Gavriel Kay, who's sort of on my reading list for like later this year? And I'm like, I don't have a reading list, but that's sort of like, will I then go and like do individual things on those books? I don't know. There will be more stuff on concrete books just as soon as I have read books that lend themselves to a more concrete talking in, ways and stuff. But right now I'm looking at all these like elements that kind of connect a lot of stuff that's going on in fantasy literature right now in ways that are somewhat political in a lot of ways, and like overtly political, I guess I should say in that regard, that tackle very specific or have like issues or connections to very specific political views that I think should be mentioned and pointed out so we can then, think about it in a more fruitful way than just taking that stuff in. And yeah, as I said, like a lot of these videos are kind of connected in unsettling ways that I am still trying to verbalize in all kinds of other ways. But yeah, expect me to make some angry videos about stuff, including the structural anti-Semitism of the First Law trilogy, which is there, trust me, and stuff like that. It's like, lots of fragments. I just need to actually put them together in a more cohesive, more coherent way than just like, oh, and by the way, didn't you know this is also a thing? And yeah, I'm struggling with that. But I hope that next week, after those 2 festivals, I will be back with a clearer brain and maybe willing to, not willing, but maybe able to tackle a lot of things with a clearer head, and maybe have solved a couple of problems that, are weighing on me, like, financial stuff and shit like that. Like, yeah, I try to apply for like some like kind of English or German tutoring kind of platform thing, and we'll see if they take me, and if so, then I'll be hopefully making some side money, and that will definitely help me to ease my mind, and with an easier mind I could possibly actually make better content. Who knows? It is, as they say, a big mystery. So yeah, I'll be going to a festival, and I'll be back on Sunday, and probably, hopefully, I'll be able to get back into like actually fantasy booktubing, or whatever you want to call it, into actual content creation on, like, say, Monday, Tuesday-ish, I guess. We will see. Anyway, that's sort of what I did last week. I hope you had a great week. I hope you read some fantastic books. I hope you're planning to read some even more fantastic books, and your week is already shaping up wonderfully. Let's not get burnt by all them heat waves out there, or those forest fires. Let's hope things get great. Anyway, that's sort of where I am right now. Yeah, let's talk in the comments about all of that, and then I'll be back with more videos, hopefully very soon. And until then, cheers.